Get ready, soldier. Gears of War Reloaded has burst onto the battlefield like a locust on steroids, bringing with it the bloody glory of the 2006 classic, but with a shiny new suit. If you've ever dreamed of smashing Locust heads with a Lancer or yelling at Dom for getting into trouble, this remaster is your ticket back to Sarah. But is this journey an epic ride or a clumsy stumble into nostalgia? Nearly 20 years since its debut, is Gears still the titan we remember, or does it feel like a Brumac on wooden legs? Imagine a world where humanity is on the brink of extinction, the Locust emerge from the bowels of the earth like mutant cockroaches, and your only hope is a badass with a headscarf and a chainsaw on his rifle. That's Gears of War Reloaded, a remaster of the third-person shooter that redefined the genre in 2006. Here you control Marcus Fenix, a former soldier sprung from prison to lead Delta Squad against a horde of grotesque enemies. The story is simple but effective. War, camaraderie, sacrifice, and explosions. Don't expect a Tarantino script, but do expect a straightforward narrative that keeps you glued to the controller. This version takes the best of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, the 2015 remaster, and gives it a facelift with technical improvements, 4K support, 60 FPS in the campaign, up to 120 FPS in multiplayer, and a couple of new tricks, like DualSense integration on PS5. Plus, it includes all the additional content from the original, an extra act in the campaign, multiplayer maps, characters, and cosmetics. And if you already own the Ultimate Edition on Xbox or PC, surprise! This version is free. Ready to dive in? Let's take it one step at a time. If there's one thing that made Gears of War legendary, it was its cover system, and in Reloaded, it's still a delight. Running, hugging a wall, leaning out to shoot, and blasting a Locust with a headshot is as satisfying as biting into a loaded taco. The controls feel more refined than ever, with faster and smoother response, especially on next-gen consoles. You can swap weapons with the D-pad, throw grenades with precision, and yes, shred enemies with the Lancer's chainsaw in a choreography of blood and guts that never gets old. The campaign's pace is a roller coaster. In about 8 to 10 hours, you go from frantic shootouts to tense moments where you avoid the KO, those flying creatures that will devour you if they catch you in the dark. The challenges are varied, facing a sweaty berserker, shooting from a turret, or racing in a vehicle while everything explodes. The difficulty is well balanced, and on normal mode, it'll test you without making you throw your controller out the window. Plus, split-screen co-op is a nostalgic gem. Playing with a friend, yelling, "Take cover, idiot!" while the Locust close in is some of the best this game has to offer. Gears of War Reloaded is a visual spectacle. The environments, from the ruins of devastated cities to the grim depths of Sarah, are remastered with 4K textures, improved lighting, and post-processing effects that make every explosion and pool of blood shine. The rain, the reflections, the dynamic shadows, everything contributes to an oppressive and cinematic atmosphere. Locations like the factory or the belly of the beast are a visual feast, with a level of detail that makes you stop and admire the Coalition's work. On PS5, the DualSense takes the experience to another level. Feeling the vibration of every shot, hearing the radio communications from the controller speaker, and feeling the resistance of the adaptive triggers makes you feel like you're part of Delta Squad. On Xbox Series XS, the game runs at a stable 60 FPS in campaign and up to 120 FPS in multiplayer, with support for Dolby Vision and Atmos that immerse you in the chaos. Loading times are virtually non-existent, keeping the pace seamless. And on PC, scalability allows you to play from a Steam Deck to a high-end rig with ultra graphics options. It's as if Sarah has received a pure emulsion injection. Reloaded's multiplayer is a trip back in time with a modern twist. Modes like Team Deathmatch and King of the Hill remain addictive, with fast-paced matches where your reflexes and strategy are key. Crossplay between PS5, Xbox, and PC ensures you'll always find your match, and shared progression lets you carry your progress across any platform. The classic maps are back, remastered, and the boost to 120 FPS on consoles makes matches smoother than ever. If you grew up playing Gears on Xbox 360, this is like reuniting with your old friends for a night of mayhem and laughter. The audio is another strong point. Gunshots sound powerful, explosions echo as if they were in your living room, and the epic soundtrack immerses you in the battle. The Spanish dubbing is classic. Marcus Fenix shouting, "Eat this shit and die," has a hooligan charm you won't find in the English version. The voices of characters like Cole Train, with their boundless energy, bring a smile to your face even in the most tense moments. And on PS5, spatial audio and the DualSense speaker add an extra layer of immersion, especially when you hear the click of a perfect reload. Reloaded is not only a gift for longtime fans, but also a gateway for new players. Its arrival on PS5 marks a historic milestone, breaking Xbox exclusivity and allowing more people to discover the series. The reduced price, €39.99, and its inclusion in Game Pass from day one make it accessible. Plus, co-op and multiplayer ensure hours of fun, while unlockable collectibles and comics add replayability. It's a complete package that respects the legacy of the original while keeping it relevant in 2025. If there's one thing that takes you out of the immersion, it's the artificial intelligence. The companions, especially Dom, seem to have a knack for getting into trouble. Remember the KRL? Dom manages to get trapped in the dark, forcing you to risk yourself to save him, or worse, leave him to die while cursing. The enemies aren't geniuses either. Sometimes they get stuck in the environment or run toward you as if they want to hug you instead of shooting you. While the AI works well in gunfights, the Locust know how to cover and flank. In certain situations it seems straight out of 2006, without significant improvements. Reloaded is a remaster, not a remake, and it shows. Although the controls are smoother, there are no substantial changes to the gameplay. If you played the Ultimate Edition, this feels like a minor update. Fans of Gears 4 or 5 might miss modern mechanics, like more agile movement or new combat options. Being faithful to the original is a double-edged sword. It maintains the essence, but also carries design limitations that feel dated today, such as linear environments and a narrative that doesn't stray far from shoot, move, repeat. While the graphics are impressive overall, not everything is up to par. Some elements, like the water and certain environment objects, look ripped from the Xbox 360 version, with low-quality textures that clash with the rest. Some character models, like Dom and Kim, have poorly detailed faces that look like clay figures compared to the Locust and Marcus. It's as if the remastering team spent the entire budget on the environments and forgot to polish some faces. These inconsistencies don't ruin the experience, but they do make you frown in a game that promises 4K. While performance is solid on consoles, it's not perfect. On PS5, there are occasional frame rate drops in chaotic moments, likely fixable with patches. On PC, optimization has been a weak point, with reports of bugs and performance issues on less powerful configurations. It's not a disaster, but when a berserker is chasing you, the last thing you want is a stuttering screen. These glitches are more noticeable on PC, where the experience can vary depending on your hardware. Gears' narrative was never its strong suit, and in Reloaded, it remains an excuse to shoot. The story is linear, with few twists and a plot that boils down to kill Locust, save the world. The characters, while charismatic, don't have much development beyond their epic one-liners. If you're looking for a deep narrative experience, you'll be left wanting. The chemistry between Marcus, Dom, Baird, and Cole makes up for it, but don't expect an emotional epic. Gears of War, Reloaded is like that badass friend who hasn't changed in 20 years, but now wears a new suit and uses expensive perfume. The gameplay is still addictive, the graphics are mostly spectacular, and the multiplayer will have you screaming with excitement or frustration. The split-screen co-op and DualSense integration on PS5 are reasons enough to give it a try, especially if you've never played the original. But it's not all perfect. The clunky AI, lack of gameplay innovations, and some graphical inconsistencies remind you that this is a 2006 game with a facelift, not a reimagining. Is it worth it? If you're a Gears fan, it's a glorious return to Sarah. If you're new, it's the best way to discover why this series defined a generation. And if you have Game Pass or Ultimate Edition, there's no excuse not to try it. Just be prepared to love and hate Dom at the same time. In the end, Reloaded is a brutal homage to a classic, with enough successes to make you forget its flaws, at least until a Locust blows your head off. Load up your Lancer and get him, soldier.